Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be leaving my assessment of the new footage that has dropped earlier today of the new game NASCAR Heat Evolution incorporated by Dusenberry Martin Racing. So, this game so far actually looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot of stuff that they could work on, but I'm not gonna point it all out, just the blaring problems that I personally believe need to have some work on. So I'm not sure how much more they plan on doing to fix this game or to maybe just change some stuff up a bit, but I think they should put it in their agenda to change this game just a bit, because so far I like what I see, but I think there are some improvements that could be made. First off, the race cars. Gotta say, the glossiness and the shininess to them, a little bit too much, especially on the Carl Edwards car that you see racing right now. It's supposed to have a more plasticky finish, however, it's definitely coming off as a lot more gloss. It seems like somebody just took some clear nail polish and dumped it on top of these race cars. Especially the Martin Truex Jr. Bass Pro Shops Toyota, and man, that car has such a dark red color. It really is red, and it's supposed to be orange. So overall, I'm not liking the look of the car so far, especially the tires and how just vibrant they are, and then also the splitters being really far up off the racetrack. That could use some work as well. As far as the racetracks go, I'm actually rather impressed. I think the racetracks look pretty good, and of course they had released some pictures of the early stages of them developing these racetracks, including Daytona and Bristol. Now, these racetracks are very detailed. However, one thing I noticed at Sonoma, at least, was that their version of detailed was basically trees and grandstands. That's about it. Down through the S's and the bus stop, that's pretty much all they had, trees and grandstands. And there's not that many trees at that track, A, and B, there is a Ferris wheel somewhere around there that I think they're missing. But overall, tracks look pretty good. Graphics overall, I think some could use some work, but actually is pretty realistic and very, very good, I think. So now we're going to be taking a look at the career mode option, and I personally believe that they have really amped it up in this game, mainly because the previous games have not given you that much flexibility as far as making your own career. In NASCAR The Game Inside Line, which is the one game that I have had a lot of experience with, they just don't have that much option. You can choose if you're a boy or a girl. You can choose your feature look. I mean, they didn't give you very much options as far as making your own career. In this game, you can change your physical appearance by a lot. And by a lot, I mean you can basically mold yourself to look like someone you want to look like or look like yourself. And I think that's great. Also, unsponsored cars, yes, I personally believe that that is the way to start a career mode. In the original games, they gave you like a Sprint Cup promo car to start off with, and that just seemed very unrealistic to NASCAR, and it just made for a very weird experience. And then like 3 races later, even if you finish last in each one, they give you like a premier sponsorship like Goodyear or Moog, or just some big sponsorship that just doesn't make sense. And then of course, moving on to your first car paint scheme, of course Moog gives you a red car with black stripes, and of course that doesn't really follow the Moog logo and their colors, but honestly, I like the way they're going with this. You don't start off with this big glossy paint scheme. You start off with these smaller stuff. Overall, I think they nailed it with the career mode, and I think if they get the racing part down to it, the gameplay part, it will be a very enjoyable experience. And so, to give my final assessment of this entire game, I'm going to rate it a 7.5 out of 10. I think the game looks really good so far. I think it has, by now, probably tied some of the other Activision games. Of course, EA Sports has pretty much been left in the dust, but those Activision games, they have their charms and such. However, they did have their quirks as well, and overall, this game has definitely tied with them so far. It's just that with this Dusenberry Martin Racing, with how big they are in the racing video game community, I figured they'd add a little bit different stuff. Maybe, in my opinion, I think some ideas would be to put in realistic pit stalls for the drivers, not just put in random colored pit stalls, and just leave it at that. I suggest maybe adding in some pit stalls, like Carl Edwards, for example, when you saw him riding, just put the Eris pit stall into the slot and just do it that way, because NASCAR Racing 2003 season from 2003 did that, and it's one of the best racing games you could have ever gotten, and now there's not that many copies of it left, but still, a very great racing game. Another thing that they can change is probably add some more drivers that are not the same number as other drivers. Denny Hamlin drives the 11 and Matt Kenseth drives the 20. However, they have other drivers like Eric Jones and Matt Taft who also drive the 11 and 20, and I didn't want to come back to that when they have the same numbers and they're just different cars. It was very confusing and very unrealistic to the realistic NASCAR racing community. And then another thing that I kind of wish they would have added, it was a long shot, an extreme long shot at that one, but maybe add in Xfinity or Camping World Truck Series cars like they used to in the games. EA Sports used to do that, and they had a bunch of fantasy drivers take the spots of the drivers that were very much smaller and much more unknown. And I know it was a long shot, and honestly, by now, I don't think they're even thinking about that. They're even thinking about doing that. But it would have been cool to see some Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series cars. Maybe have a couple heat races with those types of cars. Maybe that would be cool. And then another thing I must comment on is the simplicity of all of this. This entire game is very, very simple. It has a very simple interface, and personally, I do not like that. I like more abstract, a lot more choices, and we haven't even got to really experience gameplay as far as this goes. Also, just trying to make a prediction for what this game's going to be like is very hard with the amount of footage we have here, because the guy who was playing this game, Super Normal Mode, didn't have damage on or caution flags on, so it's still kind of hard to tell what this game will be like and how good it will actually be as of now, but this is just my assessment so far. So 7.5 out of 10. I must say this game actually looks pretty good. If they improve on it a bit, I would buy it. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. Please subscribe. Tell me what you think of NASCAR Heat Evolution so far in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.